Welcome guys to the Meet Damien live stream here. In today's video, I want to make it more of a educational video here on how to trade a bear market, because I feel as though we need to get this information out there in case we do enter a bear market in Bitcoin and crypto, as well as the stock market. This advice is applicable to the stock market, to trading oil or gold or whatever market you're in. It's not just for crypto, but we do like talking about Bitcoin and crypto here. And that's the asset that we're going to focus on for today. And then, towards the end of my educational part of this video, I'll take some requests here so we can take a look at some of your favorite cryptocurrencies, some of your favorite stocks here. But I titled the video today, how to trade a bear market, how to prepare yourself for a bear market in crypto. Okay. One of the first couple of things we need to identify with how to prepare ourselves for a bear market is we first need to define what is a bear market. I know there's some people out there that have different definitions. I have like a couple of qualifications that I look for identifying a bear market in an asset. The first qualification would be the 200-day moving average. Okay, this red line here. Are you below the 200-day moving average? In this case, for Bitcoin, you are. You are below the 200-day moving average. You have some candle closes here that are below the 200-day moving average. This is concerning. This leads me to believe that over the last 200 days, you can't even stay above the average of the last 200 days. You're below the average. And this is the beginnings of a bear market, if it is going to be a bear market. Now, bear markets, how long can they last? I mean, it could last a few days if we get ourselves back up to the 200-day moving average. That's my opinion. That's how I trade these markets. It could last a few weeks or a few months or even a year, depending upon how long you stay below the 200-day moving average. Okay, so that is one of my first qualifications. The other qualification, and this is coming off a stock market world, I think it's still applicable to cryptocurrencies, but if you're about 20% away from the all-time high, okay, or maybe it doesn't have to be the all-time high, but the high for the year, we'll just say for the high for the year for Bitcoin was 126,296. So you just measure that out, 126,200, right? Down to where we are right now on Bitcoin at 101,700, somewhere in that area. We're about 19%, but earlier today we saw Bitcoin at $100,000, and that put us at like about a 20% correction. Okay, so Bitcoin has already had a 20% correction, if you want to call it a correction, or a 20% drop in price. That is the beginning of a bear market. So now you know how to identify a bear market based on what I gave you there for two qualifications. Are you down 20% from your all-time high or the high for the year? Are you below the 200-day moving average? If yes, if you could check that off, yes to that and yes to that, then guess what? You're starting to go into a bear market. Okay, now that you know how to identify what a bear market is, we have a definition of a bear market. Okay, how would you trade it? How would you invest in it? Well, you got to figure out, this is on your own. You got to figure this out for yourself. I'm not a financial advisor, so this is not financial advice. But if you have money in the market that you were planning on using to pay down some debt, pay down some bills, pay off your rent or your mortgage or whatever important bill that is out there, you should probably take that money off the table now rather than later, because the trend for a bear market is you're gonna get lower highs, and lower lows. And the last lower high was probably the price that you could have got at the highest price. And if this is a bear market where we just keep trending downward and going to the right and going down some more, if I draw this out here, like if we just continue going sideways and then we go down and then we go sideways and then maybe we come up a little bit but we make a lower high and then go down, your last chance to get the highest price is probably now. rather than waiting for later where, you know, the price goes down and then you wait for it to go back up again, and this is the highest price that you could get it for, and then it goes down one more time on you. So if you got money that you need right now to pay some bills, pay something important, pay off a loan, pay off a debt, or whatever you got to do, okay, now might be the time to take off not all the money. You don't need to take all of it out, but you could take the portion of it that you believe is you're gonna need to pay off your bills, okay? Because this might be the highest price you can get, or in this case, Bitcoin. This might be the highest price that Bitcoin might be at for a while, and you don't want to be stuck, you know, a few months from now, wishing that you were able to sell in November, okay, when the prices were a little bit higher than what they're gonna probably end up being in like January or December, okay? So you need to take that in consideration. You got to figure that out on your own time. You know, what kind of money do I need to survive? Okay, that should be for the investors out there. You got to think about that. Now, as far as you know, trading the rest of the money that you have in your account, I mean, if you really can identify that this is the bear market and you already made your profits and you want out of the market, then, you know, now would be a good time to get out. But you could also wait for a bounce up to higher prices. Now, you know, with Bitcoin being below its 200-day moving average, this red line here, what you could do is, if you're anxious about getting out of the market, but you're not too anxious yet, okay, if you want to see if you can get a higher price from where we are right now, then what you could wait for, right, and let me just get rid of this blue line here, you could wait for Bitcoin to try and retest this 200-day moving average one more time and try to get out at that red line, that 200-day moving average sitting at $110,000. That might be the point where you want to get out for yourself at a higher price if you're able to wait, okay? But still, you don't want to play with fire, okay? Because what if it doesn't do that? What if Bitcoin just goes sideways here before it then goes down? Okay, well then you have to kind of figure out, you know, and this is the hardest part about getting, you know, selling your crypto is how do you get out? What's the exit strategy here? Okay, if Bitcoin is just going to go sideways from here and then go down, then maybe you want to put a stop loss right below the candle wick lows here. So you got to identify this right here. You know, on Tuesday, earlier this week, we saw Bitcoin as low as 98,892. Maybe you put a stop loss at like 98,800. And for those of you who don't know how to put a stop loss in, I have made a video on TikTok. I believe it's on TikTok, but I've also made a video on YouTube, on the YouTube channel here for the Meet Damien channel. I have done like a video as like how to do a stop loss on Coinbase here. And if I could just pull up that video real quick here. It's, yeah, I have a how to buy crypto video here, and let's see, where is my other video here? I have to dig through it. I probably should have looked at this beforehand, but yeah, I think I actually put it as a short. It's one of my YouTube shorts here, and I'll have to dig through that. But if you want to look at my channel here on YouTube, you all you gotta do is type in Meet Damien, how to put a stop loss, and it should come up when you search it up, okay? But anyways, stop losses, pretty important to have, okay? If you want to protect your capital here. And I would probably put the stop loss at 98,800, okay? For the majority of your portfolio, if you're in Bitcoin, you're gonna have to figure this out for your altcoins as well, what the lows were for the week. And if, you know, the crypto goes below the lows for the week, and it continues to go lower, you're going to be happy that you were able to sell your crypto at relatively higher prices than where it could go if we continue on into a bear market here. Now, in bear markets, you'll see, right? You'll see the price. It will actually rip up to high prices here. I got TikTok is over here bothering me about my live stream. Let me just tell them that. All right, here we go. Submit that. All right. What you'll see here, right, where bear markets is every now and then, the price will rip up and it will go violently up high. You know, in this case, it might do a V-shaped recovery up to that 200-day moving average before it then gets shot down and violently comes down to lower prices here. And what we call this like a rip, okay? And then of course, when it drops down, we call that a dip. So you might have heard this in stock market world, but for you guys who are new to investing and new to crypto and probably haven't really dealt with the stock market, we in the bear market we say sell the rip and then buy the dip. Okay, so in this case we've already had a dip, so I would actually be trying to buy crypto right now, even though, you know, we might be in a bear market. If you're trading this, you would buy the dip here with the intention of selling the rip, and then you have to identify a target to the upside. In this case, the target to the upside would probably be that 200-day moving average sitting at $110,000. That should be a nice, you know, gain for a lot of you guys here. If we go from where we are right now, from $102,000 to about 110 grand, that's about an 8% move. That's a pretty decent gain, all right? And you're looking for that little gain right there, 8% or 9 or 10% move up in price, and you're gonna sell it, and you can pat yourself on the back for taking some profits here, knowing that you would then be anticipating a dip coming or a correction coming, where you're gonna have to identify how low the price is gonna go, but you would basically sell the rip and then buy the dip at some point over here. And I have identified that Bitcoin could come down to lower prices here. We use the Fibonacci. If Bitcoin does drop down, we're looking to buy the dip again at 94K here, okay? Which is also a price level that Bitcoin was trading at back here in April, where we were trading at like $94,000, $95,000 and towards the end of April and the beginning of May of 2025. That's an area where we would try to buy the dip one more time, set our stop losses relatively tight, and then see if Bitcoin launches back up. And if Bitcoin was to launch back up after dropping down to 94K, then what we would probably look for next is maybe Bitcoin ripping back up to like 100K, getting people excited again, like, oh my god, Bitcoin's back at 100K, we're so back. And then we're not back. People still sell. They try to sell. Anybody that was trying to sell the Bitcoin at 100K gets one last opportunity to do it, and then we go back down again, and maybe we dip down into the $80,000 Bitcoin range, okay? So this is what we're looking for as far as traders go. We're going to try to see if we can buy the dip. In this case, you know, if Bitcoin goes to 94K, we're going to buy it, and then when it comes back up to like 100K, we're going to sell it, okay? Sell the rip. And then we're going to look for another dip as Bitcoin goes into 80K area. We'll buy the dip again and rinse and repeat. Sell the rip, buy the dip. Sell the rip, buy the dip. But yeah, that's how I plan on trading the bear market, if that's going to be the way things are going to go for us here in Bitcoin and cryptocurrency world. Let me know what your thoughts and comments are. Obviously, in the comments to the video, in my live chat. I gotta go check up on the live chat, see what you guys are saying here. Let me see what Dave P is in the chat. Good to see you, Dave P. And of course, Jim is in the chat, says he loves the thumbnail to the video. Thank you, Jim. Glad to see that you're back and watching the content again. And then let's see, over here on TikTok. Let me just catch up on the chat here. Wow, okay, we got a few things going on here on TikTok. Let's see. KS says rotation out of altcoin season. He says that Bitcoin is in a bear market, but alts will rotate now when no one pays attention. Okay. G D God says let's look at, I believe that's Zcash, ZEC. All right, we'll take a look at the Zcash for you. And then let's see. GD God says bear market with 2 E's, as in drink some beer. Bear market. That's funny. Okay. Christoph says Bitcoin could go to 55K, and he thinks 98K is for sure. We've already hit 98K, so that's already happened. I think 94K could be the next level if we continue going down. Brown Mockin has been liking the live stream. Thank you for liking the live stream. We're at 1,000 likes here on TikTok. Let's see if we can get it up to 2,000 likes here. And then for my YouTube guys, let's see if we get the likes to match the amount of people that are in the live stream. Let's go ahead and continue doing that. Appreciate that, guys. It really helps me out when you guys hit that like button. Let's YouTube and TikTok know that we are producing some good content here for your TA. And then Brown Machin wants to look at Jelly Jelly. All right, we'll look at Jelly Jelly. Get some jelly for ya. Let's see. Then Tariq says, "Hello, what's happening? What's happening?" We're kind of in a bear market, in my opinion here. And I see Hulk Smash is in here. Hulk Smash is bullish. Okay, Hulk Smash. Before I get into some of these cryptocurrencies here, I will do a quick review as to like what I was just talking about as to how I identify that we're in a bear market here, so you can understand my thought process, Hulk Smash, as to like why I'm bearish on Bitcoin right now. All right, and then Fargo has liked the live, and then he says, then to take profits before it dips again, when do you think it'll go back up again? It will go back up again when it goes back up again, but we're at a level where we could see Bitcoin bounce up and go to higher prices. Oh, you already heard it. Okay, yeah, so like my qualifications, and I'll just do a quick review for those who are joining right now, but my qualifications for a bear market is, my first qualification is, are you below the 200-day moving average? If so, in that particular asset, you know, could be Bitcoin, could be Zcash, could be Jelly, whatever the asset is. All right, some assets are going to be in a bear market while their peers are not in a bear market, okay? But as far as like bear market goes, below the 200-day moving average, that red line is my qualification for a bear market. Also, this is just coming off a stock market world, but when you are below 200% from the all-time high or the highs for the year, in this case, Bitcoin is now currently at 19%, but we have seen Bitcoin go lower earlier today and yesterday. You know, Bitcoin was below 20% from its all-time high. That's another qualification for being in the bear market, okay? In stock market world, they call it, you know, 10% drop is a correction, and then a 20% drop is like a bear market, okay, in stock market world. And I think we can still use that qualification for crypto and Bitcoin. I know Bitcoin can do 20% drops and still be like in a bull market, as some people would say, okay? But that would be just, in this case, it would be the beginning of a bear market, because if Bitcoin doesn't bounce up and it goes down 30%, are you still going to call it a bull market? I know some people back in 2021 were still calling it a bull market when Bitcoin dropped 50% from like $60,000 down to like $28,000 in 2021. That was a bear market, and some people were still calling it a bull market. We were lucky enough for Bitcoin to go back up to $60,000 in 2021. And that was like your last chance to get out as it double topped at 60 grand. That was, you know, kind of like a fluke. But that was a bear market inside of a bull market, if you want to call it that, okay? So you can get like a mini bear market. Like we kind of had a little bit of a bear market here in 2025 when Bitcoin dropped below the 200-day moving average. And I was concerned, you know, I was concerned that we were going to go into a bear market back in like April of 2025. And then, you know, Donald Trump put a pause on tariffs, and that got people excited to put money back into the cryptocurrency market again. And we were able to get ourselves out of that, you know, this downward trend here, and also get out of the dangerous territory of being below 200-day moving average. Now, right now, you know, we don't really have tariffs as a threat. Matter of fact, we did a trade deal with China last week. We had interest rates get cut, and it seems as though none of that has been good enough for getting ourselves out of this downtrend that we're in and getting back above the 200-day moving average. Now, I think the last positive catalyst that we have going for Bitcoin in the stock market is if they actually get the government back up and running again, and that could happen later on today or this weekend. I heard that congressmen and women are staying they're not going back home this week, and they're actually going to stay in Congress to try to reopen the government and come to a compromise or a solution here. And that would be great, and that would get a lot of fear and anxiety out of the markets. And I think that's what would happen. That's what would cause us to get a positive catalyst that could shoot us back up to that 200-day moving average, sitting at $110,200 here. Okay, so I'm hoping that Bitcoin gets up to $110,200. But when it does, I might sell a little bit of my spot bags, like I said, you know, because I don't know if this might be the highest price I can get before we make another lower high and then go down and start making lower lows all over again, okay? Because when they reopen the government, one thing we need to take in consideration is when they reopen the government, we're going to start getting reports about how bad the economy is actually doing if they have, you know, the jobs report, right? We've been waiting for the jobs report. If the jobs report comes out really, really bad, yeah, they'll lower interest rates, but it means we're going into a recession, and then the market might not like that, and that could cause us to, you know, continue going down the lower prices here if market starts worrying about a recession rather than whether or not we're going to get another interest rate cut. All right, let me move on to the requests here. We're going to take a look at Zcash. Let's take a look at Zcash here. And I'm going to try to be good about checking up on the chat here. If you got some requests on YouTube here, guys, go ahead and shoot away. I'm taking the requests right now. I'm going to try to be better. I'm looking for Hulk Smash if he has a request. I got Hulk Smash coming up as a priority request if he has one. So we're looking at Zcash. Zcash is trading at $710, up 30% today. And this thing is just off to the races here. Clearly above all the moving averages. This is an extremely bullish asset. This thing is in a bull market, even though Bitcoin is in a bear market on its own, okay? Zcash is in a bull market. You're above the moving averages. You're even above the 21 EMA, which is extremely bullish in this case here. And I have drawn a Fibonacci going from like $186 down up to like $449 where this thing was trading at, I think yesterday or even the day before. And I think this is still useful to use as far as like figuring out how high could Zcash go. We already hit the 1618 at $611. The next target is a 2618 at $874. Seemed kind of unbelievable for us to actually hit that target when we were at like $400, $500, but now that we're at like $700, $874 doesn't seem too far away for Zcash. So that is a target to look for. And then believe it or not, there is a 3618 that says this bad boy could get up to 1136, but I wouldn't really hold my breath on that. Let's see what the oscillators are doing to get an idea as like if this thing is overbought and how much further it could go. Right now, your RSI is at 90 on the daily time frame for Zcash. This is like definitely overbought. This is like a big warning sign. Usually you do not stay in the 90s, even in a cryptocurrency. You do not stay overbought at 90 for an extended period of time. So I would expect Zcash to eventually get a correction at some point. But let's see, we have seen 90 before on the RSI earlier in October. Where, you know, on October 2nd, we had an RSI at 90.18. Then we dipped down to 86. Then we came back up again to 89 and then 90 on October 5th, and then we had a steep drop down. And let's see what the price did when we actually had that steep drop in the RSI here. Okay, so when we were trading in the 90s back in October, okay, October 2nd, October 3rd, we had a steep drop, a little correction there on October 7th where the RSI came down, and then we shot up back up again. So, you know, it's a little bit tricky with these assets here, because like we had a drop down, but that was just a reset on the oscillator for us to then go to higher prices. But could that happen again for Zcash, right? Could Zcash continue going up but then get a drop down to lower prices before it resets and goes up to higher prices? We shall see. But if Zcash does start to drop down here, I think this Fibonacci is still useful to use. We could drop down to the 1618 at 611, or even drop down to the 1272 at 520. I would be looking for those targets to the downside if Zcash does end up dropping down here. But when this thing actually does start to top off, I'll have to probably redraw the Fibonacci one more time here to get an idea as to like what the actual Fibonacci levels are going to be here. All right, so moving on from there, let's let me do a VRVP indicator here. Just try to get ideas like what levels there might be using the VRVP indicator. So we do have a value area high in a high volume node here at 415. That could be an area where we could get some support if Zcash does drop down. But I mean, that's going to be like almost like a 30% drop from where we are right now. Let me just measure that out real quick here. If we go down to that white line, the value area high, it's about a 40% correction. All right. Just know that this thing could drop 40% on you. Still be bullish, but that would hurt, especially if you're buying right now, thinking that this thing's going to go to higher prices. It could drop down 40% to and still be bullish and go up to higher prices here. Okay. We also got some. Let me get rid of this information here. But we also got some other high volume nodes here, like 530, 520, and then another one at 630. Okay. But yeah, I think this high volume here at 520, 530 is confluent with this 1272 if you're using the Fibonacci, and then the 1618 at 611 is confluent with the VRVP here at like 610, 620, 630, somewhere in this area. So you got some indicators that you can use for Zcash here. All right, moving on from Zcash, we'll look at the Jelly. Jelly on Mexi. All right, we're currently looking at Jelly, currently trading at 8 cents. And I see there are some requests here on YouTube. I see Rob wants to look at XRP. And Argy, is that a request for Duck? Just let me know if that's a request for Duck, or are you just saying Duck in general? And then Hulk Smash says, do you consider January to April a bear market? It looks identical to now. Probably. You know, when you go below the 200 moving average, that's what I qualify as a bear market. Jacob wants my thoughts on Render. Okay, we'll take a look at that as well. But let me finish up here on Jelly on the daily time frame. Very weird looking chart. Especially on the daily time frame. Wow. Okay, yeah, the candlewick high here came as high as like 51 cents. Wow. Is that true? Is that really the case here? This thing went up to like 51 cents on Mexi. Well, that candle closed at like 27 cents, 28 cents. So I don't know if I'm going to actually draw a Fibonacci at that level. I'm just going to disregard this candlewick here. And I'll actually use this candlewick here as the high for the move. But I'm going to draw a Fibonacci now. Get ideas like what the levels are here. We'll take it down to this level right here. Okay. All right, so we clearly blew through all the Fibonacci levels that we could have went. We dropped down just as fast as we shot up here on Jelly. That's the dangerous part about these cryptocurrencies is if you're not taking profit, you might lose all your profits and have to start all over again here. And that looks like what we've done with Jelly. If we are able to catch some bids here, maybe we might get another retracement. We might be able to get ourselves and climb ourselves back up to the 618 at like 20 cents here. I'd be looking for that golden pocket number as a take profit target for a long term. But more realistically, we got the 0.236 at 10 cents, 11 cents around this area. Should be our next target for Jelly to the upside before we climb ourselves up to like 14 cents here on the 0.32. Now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to try to bring out that VRVP indicator here, see what the VRVP has to say. The VRVP indicator, this indicator off to the right, green and red bars to the right, shows that the value area high is sitting at 13.5 cents. That's another level. I think between 13.5 to 14.5 cents should be an area where you should take profit if you're day trading or swing trading this. Obviously, if you're in the long term, you're going to probably wait for the 618 at 20 cents here. But yeah, if you're day trading this, I would probably look for, or swing trading it, I'd probably look for like 13.5, 14.5 cents as upside target. How far could this thing go down if it is going to go down to lower prices? Well, right now you're kind of hanging out near the point of control. The point of control is this blue line at 7 cents. That should act as support, so maybe jelly could come down one more time to 7 cents before launching up to higher prices. But if it loses 7 cents, then you do have some other levels below you here. You have the 50-day moving average could act as support at 5.5 cents. You have the 100-day at 4.5 cents. And now you're getting close to this value area low, this other white line here. This value area low is sitting at about like 4 cents. So I think 4 cents, 4.5 cents, or even 5.5 cents is an area where you can scoop up some cheaper jelly if it does get down to those levels there. And if you're day trading it, that's where you will be taking profit on your short and closing out your short, knowing that this thing will most likely get a reaction here, might bounce back up to at least the point of control at some point here. All right, let's see. We got some requests here. We got to look at XRP and Render. Let me go ahead and write these things down so I know which ones I went over. Render. And Rob, was it Rob? No, it was Argy. Argy, were you requesting a crypto called Duck, or were you just saying Duck as a statement? Can never know sometimes. And then let me just check up on TikTok here, see what you guys are saying here on TikTok. We got about a couple of thousand likes here on TikTok. Let's see if we can get that up to 3,000 likes. Appreciate that, guys. Logan Newport says government opening up. Is that breaking news, or are you just making a statement? Because that would be very welcome news if they're actually going to open up the government today. Because I know this weekend is going to be a little bit hectic for the airlines, and there's a lot of pressure right now. Some people aren't going to be able to make their flights, and they're losing their flights right now. Shafi says, can we check out Uniswap? We can definitely do that. All right, let's take a look at XRP. All right, XRP currently trading at $2.31, up 4.5% today. I got some previous analysis here. I identified an inverse head and shoulder pattern on XRP. That was good to see. It was trying to play out to the upside, but wasn't good enough. We got rejected off of the, well, we went past the 20-day moving average, but we kind of got rejected off this 100-day moving average, acting as resistance, and coming down to lower prices than where the bottom of this inverted head and shoulder pattern is at. So I'm going to go ahead and get rid of this now off my chart. We already identified that. It already played out. And now we got some sideways trading action going on here at $2.30 for XRP. XRP did get as low as, let's see, $2.06 on Tuesday. Let's not go lower than that, please. I see that we are kind of making some candle wick higher lows here. That's a start to having a little bit of hope for higher prices here. If XRP is able to climb back up, I would expect, right now, I'm expecting the 21 EMA to act as resistance. This white line could act as resistance at 244. But if we can get past that 21 EMA and not actually use it as resistance and pierce right through it, I'm expecting the 200 new moving average to act as resistance at 262 for XRP. Okay. Then, of course, you got some more moving averages above you. You got the 100-day and the 50-day above you at like 281 and 274. So I'm expecting anywhere between 262 to 282 to be a good area to take profit on your day trades or your swing trades on XRP. If you're long in this asset here. If you're in it for the long term, then you're kind of hoping for higher prices, but you're in a downtrend on XRP. You're making lower high, lower high, lower high, lower high. If we come up to the 200-day moving average at 262, that's going to be once again another lower high if we're not able to go past that, right? We got to get past this lower high here. We got as high as like 269 on XRP on October 27th. I want to get past that level before I become bullish again on XRP. Right now, you know my qualifications, right? For being in the bear market, if you're below the 200-day moving average, you're in a bear market in that asset. And right now, XRP is in a bear market. Could be for a couple of more days, could be for a few more weeks, okay? But until you get above the 200-day moving average, you're in a bear market as far as I'm concerned. And I would be very enthusiastic and happy to see XRP get above the 200-day moving average and also get above that last high that it made at 269. You do that, and then we can start talking about being bulls again here on XRP and going to higher prices. And then we'll see if XRP can get above the other lower highs that it made here in September and October. You know, we got to see, can we get above 310 and can we get above 318? Okay, those are going to be your next targets to the upside once XRP gets above its 200-day moving average. One more time here. All right, Hulk Smash says 92.5 into a reversal on government reopening makes sense to you. Okay, so you think we could still go down on price, Hulk Smash? Do you think Bitcoin might continue going down to lower prices here? What if that government reopens today? We could see Bitcoin and stock market rocket up just with people not being scared anymore. Let's see, Long Mountain says, last 6 years you've been buying more and you're up multiple thousands of percents. All this trading just funds the exchanges and the market makers. Drawing a fib on a pump and dump, not to hate, but it's kind of funny. I mean, yeah, that's what I had to do on that little pump and dump, right? What was that, for Jelly? But, you know, it's the only thing I can do, you know. But yeah, it does look a little funny doing the drawing a fib on a pump and dump. All right. Moving on from XRP, we got to take a look at Render. All right, so we're now looking at Render, currently trading at $2.49, up 28% today. Okay, Render, you catching some bids now, Render? I remember, you know, Hulk Smash. You heard it in Porky's live stream last night. We were listening to Porky's live stream, or at least I was watching the replay of it. I didn't get a chance to actually get into the live stream when he was live, but I remember Porky was saying like a lot of these AI cryptocurrencies are starting to get some love now, and I think that's playing out with Render right now today. However, Render's been very disappointing over the past year now. We've seen the highest price for Render at like $11 on December of last year, and since then Render's been in a downtrend, and Render's been in a bear market. Let's see, Render entered its bear market, okay, when it lost the 200-day moving average here in January of earlier this year, okay? And since then, you've been below the 200-day moving average. You came back, you retested it here in May, only to bearishly backtest it and go to low prices. And this 200-day moving average has been acting as a bully all year long, just pushing you down, stuffing you into the locker, not letting you go up to higher prices here every time you get up to that 200-day moving average. So what I'm expecting here in the future for Render is, I'm expecting if Render does climb back up, right? Let's say, you know, Render continues going up, making higher lows, higher highs, and goes up to that 200-day moving average. I'm expecting Render to get rejected. Right now, the 200-day moving average is at 366. I'm expecting that to be a good take profit target on Render, and before you get rejected again. And maybe you come back to lower prices. Maybe you do make a higher low, and then you get up to higher prices and actually get above the 200-day moving average once and for all. Maybe later on in 2025, going into 2026 here. But yeah, that's what I'm seeing here with Render. Your targets to the upside are going to be the moving averages above you. Let me see, I didn't mean to do that. But very nice to see you actually get above the 21 EMA, because the 21 EMA was acting as a bully. Okay, kind of pushing you back into the locker, not letting you get out of the locker and go up to higher prices here. So you finally, you know, got past that bully right there. But the big bosses are up here. The 100-day, the 50-day moving average sitting at 330, and 100-day sitting at 339. think those are your next take profit targets for the short-term day traders and short-term swing traders here. And then after that, 366 should be your upside target for Render as of now. But we shall see. Hopefully this is not a short-lived moment here for Render. You did get above 21 EMA, but if this thing ends up flopping over, peeling over, and dying out on us, then you could still be in a downtrend here. And if this is a downtrend, let's see. I'm gonna have to try to see if I can do a Fibonacci going the other way here, right? But if this is still a downtrend on Render and you are going to lower prices here, then we got a 1272 that says this thing could get to $1. Will be a level to look for Render. And then you got a 1618. Oof. 21 cents. That would be brutal if Render goes down to that price, but you kind of almost did that here on October 10th. You got it down to like 65 cents here on Render. So is 21 cents too far off from being a possibility here if you continue to go to lower prices on Render? I don't know, but right now the 1618 says it's a possibility here. And I start to zoom out. Let me go into the weekly chart here. Oh, I don't really got that much data here for Render. Yeah, I think this is good enough here for a Fibonacci target, Fibonacci extension to the downside on a Render here. $1 and then 21 cents. Yikes. All right, moving on from Render, let's take a look at Uniswap. Alright, Uniswap currently trading at $5.84, up 11% today. Okay. Really? Let's get into the daily chart here. Okay, here you are. You got that green candle showing up. 21 EMA could act as resistance one more time here. That 21 EMA sitting at $5.97. You're not too far off from possibly getting rejected off of there. If you don't get rejected, then we can start talking about this thing going to higher prices. Right now, I think the 200-day moving average could act as your next resistance, your next take profit target at 785, which is, look at that, matches up perfectly with this 0.236 retracement at 785. I drew this Fibonacci because I drew it from the swing low here in May, where we're at like $4.20 here. Up to the highs, right? Actually, no, I take that back. I think I drew it even further than that. But anyways, Uniswap. Yeah, I think we got up to like 1946. So I think I was drawing this from like this swing low back here to this swing high. So this is still interesting, right? How we are still using this Fibonacci, and 785 looks like it could be the target for Uniswap to the upside still. But first, you got to get past this white line. That white line at 21 EMA sitting at 597 could act as resistance. We'll see until it doesn't. But if Uniswap does come down to lower prices, you could revisit the lows here on Tuesday where we saw 473 all over again. All right. And then I guess I would have to draw another Fibonacci to the downside and see if there's any Fib extensions to the downside. But let's just hope and pray that we don't go lower than 473 here on Uniswap. I would put the stop loss right there. If Uniswap goes below 473, then you probably don't want to stick around to find out how much lower it's going to go, because it could get more painful for you. Dirk Echo says, what's going on with crypto? Are we ripping? Let's see. When I was looking at Bitcoin earlier today, it was at 102,500. Right now we're at 102,270. We're getting a green candle on the daily time frame for Bitcoin. Looks like there's buyers showing up every time Bitcoin goes below 100K. So far it looks like 100K is being defended. Obviously we have gone down to 98 and 99K, but that was not, only for like a short while there before people scoop it up. So there is still some demand for Bitcoin at 100K. And if there is more demand for Bitcoin, then I think, you know, Bitcoin, we'll see how Bitcoin handles itself when it gets up to the moving averages above it at the 21 EMA at 108K and the 200-day at 110K. Those are my targets to the upside for Bitcoin if we're going to continue being bullish here. And for the short-term day trading take profit targets, 108, 110K seems pretty good at this point. $92.5K is your downside target, Hulk Smash. I'm a little bit curious, how did you arrive to 92.5? Because I've been seeing 94K show up on my charts a couple of times here. I do have a Fibonacci that I drew, and that Fibonacci I drew from the 74K up to the 126K area, and that 0.382 is saying 94K is an area to be looking for. And then as I start to zoom out here and I gather some more data, if I turn on the VRVP indicator, there is a point of control at about 96K. You got a high volume node here at 96K and a little bit of high volume here at 94K as well. So I'm a little curious how you came to 92.5 on your chart. Not saying that you're wrong. Just wondering how you got to that conclusion. Maybe I can arrive to the same conclusion as well. ST Jin is in the chat here on TikTok saying, "Good evening. How was my day?" It's good. It's going good so far. Let's see if we can get the likes up here. If you guys could double tap your screen, we're at 2,200 likes. Let's see if we can get to like 2,500 likes here on TikTok. And let's see. Alright. So I think we're going through all the requests here. And let's see. I want to see how CoAI is doing. That was a cryptocurrency that we were looking at a couple of weeks ago. Let me just turn the music down a little bit on my end. Alright, CoAI currently trading at $1.42. I got to get rid of some of these Fibonacci's here. Get rid of that. I get rid of the VRVP for now. And I'll even get rid of this one for now. Yeah, we don't need that for now. Alright, no, this is virtuals. Why? I thought I clicked on CoAI. What the hell? Alright. CoAI. There we go. This CoAI. Up 10% today. Trading at $1.17. I think last night on my Discord I was saying that it looks like CoAI could be bottoming out. This thing has been as high as 20 bucks. It double topped at $20, $19.97, and then $20.04 earlier in October. Was the cool kid on the block here, CoAI, but not so cool anymore because it's at $1.17 now. But let's look at what I was seeing here on CoAI. So on the MACD, on the daily time frame, selling pressure is dying down on CoAI. You want to see that continue on, and then maybe get a MACD flip. If this thing was to continue on, just doing what it's doing and not changing anything else here, it looks like you might get a MACD flip in the middle of November. November 13th or November 14th, you could start seeing some green candles showing up on the MACD for CoAI if it just continues doing what it's doing right now. So maybe CoAI might have another good month in November here. Okay, and then let's see on Market Cipher B. Yeah, you got a lot of selling pressure towards Halloween and the first week of November. But if this thing starts curving back up, that means money flow is not leaving CoAI, and it might start going back into CoAI. Alright, so CoAI might be, at this point, I would spot trade it, or maybe just do very low leverage, 2x leverage, you know, until you can confirm that you actually are going to higher prices, and then you could add some more with maybe 5 or 10x leverage. But right now, the lowest price that we see in CoAI was at 79 cents. That was Tuesday, and then yesterday 83 cents. So that kind of is almost like a double bottom. when the bottoms are like about 1 to 3% away from each other, that qualifies as a double bottom. So KOAI could be double bottoming right now on the daily time frame here. Now, we don't really have that much data to be on the daily time frame. I like using the 4-hour and the 1-hour chart here. Let's see what the 4-hour chart is showing. 4-hour chart is showing the market cipher B. There is a green buy dot that came in last night, and also the blue wave, this momentum wave, is curving back up, and you also have money flow turning green here yesterday morning at 11 a.m. Eastern time. You went from red to green on the 4-hour time frame, so money is going back into KOAI at this moment. Okay, and then let's see, looking at the MACD. Yeah, you got buying pressure. Buying pressure has been coming in since before Halloween. There was buying pressure, but the price was still going down at that time. Now price is actually going up, and you still got buying pressure showing up. So that's good to see here. And then as far as RSI goes, on the 4-hour time frame, you are creating higher lows on the RSI after making lower lows. So there is bullish divergence here on KOAI. KOAI, like I said, it might be worth taking a shot at if you want to get into these AI cryptocurrencies. This is like a cryptocurrency that's involved with AI agents, and it's one of the newest kids on the block. I think it competes against virtuals, if you guys are familiar with virtuals. KOAI could be like the competition for virtuals at this point. And this is looking good so far for KOAI, okay? At least on the 4-hour time frame. Now, I haven't even give you a price target to the upside if the thing was to go up to higher prices. I mean, I have identified 485 was an area that was interesting for KOAI, because that was like a level that we got down to here on October 20th. We actually came down to 435, but looks like 485 and 430. Yeah, somewhere between like 430 and 480 could be a good take profit. And that's about what? A 3x, almost a 4x from where we are right now. Just measure that out. If we get back up to like 480, it's about a 300% gain. You don't need 10x leverage. You don't even need 5x leverage. You can just do spot bag, trade that, and be up 300% on KOAI. Might be worth taking a look at, guys. KOAI one more time here. Full disclosure, I don't own any KOAI, and I'm not trading it either, but I might get back into it again, especially if this is not the end of crypto and not the end of this bull run. KOAI might, be worth getting back into for a 3x or a 4x here. All right, and we already identified, bullish divergence, a double bottom on the daily time frame. It might be worth taking a shot, right? And if you are going to take a shot on KOAI, for your spot bag traders, you just put your stop loss below the low from yesterday at 83 cents. If this thing goes below 83 cents, then maybe KOAI is not done going down for now. But if it doesn't go below 83 cents, then you might have been getting the bottom for KOAI right now. And maybe we end up getting like a rounded bottom and a cup and handle pattern playing out here, and that'd be nice, right? KOAI kind of does like a rounded bottom, so like you already seen, this is half of the cup right here, and if we just continue going up, higher lows, higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, you got yourself a rounded bottom, and you got yourself possibly a cup and handle. I think if we were to go up to 485, you could get rejected at 485, and then that will be where you get your the handle, right? Where this thing kind of gets rejected at this price point here. Doesn't fully retrace all the way back down, but then creates a higher low, and then you got your cup and handle going up to higher prices on KOAI. Just something to think about. Just an idea. But I can't see why it would be bad to buy KOAI at this price. Like I said, I'm not in this asset, so you can do whatever you want. I have no bias or anything. I'm just looking at the chart and I'm saying, hey, you know, if someone said, hey, let's try to get into Koei, I'd say, you know what, it actually looks like it's good on the charts. But we shall see. We shall see. So I'm out of requests here, guys. I'm just looking at cryptocurrencies that I want to look at. So if you guys have any more requests, let me know. Let's see how the rest of the cryptocurrencies are doing on CoinMarketCap right now. Let me just refresh this page here. Fear and Greed is at 21. We're kind of like in red territory right now. This would be a good time to buy crypto. Fear and Greed was at 24 yesterday, and it was at 31 last week, and then last month there was Greed at 62. So usually when Fear and Greed is this low, it's usually a good time to buy something, anything at this point. And if we're like discount shopping here on crypto, let's see which ones have done the worst today in the last 24 hours. Dash is down 4.8%. I don't know what this thing is, but it's down 6.8%. And then ZK Sync is down 8%. Maybe those might be worth getting into. Trump Coin is actually down today, down 1%. But as far as like the coins that are doing good in the top 100, Filecoin's having its day in the sun right here, up 131%. Fetch AI up 70% today. Wow, okay, out of nowhere. And then Starknet is up 46%. Near Protocol up 42%, and Render is up 36%. Near and Render are both AI cryptocurrencies, so looks like the AI cryptos are getting some love today. And then let's see, Zcash up 33%, and has been a beast for like the last couple of weeks now. Ethereum Classic is catching some bids here, up 30% today. And then Graph, GRT, another AI-related cryptocurrency, is up 27% today. So there is some cryptos doing pretty well today, making some money. Let's see who's done pretty well over the last week. ICP's been making the news, up 163% this week. ZK Sync, I'm not sure what this thing does, but it's up 142% the past week. And so is Filecoin, up 142%. Dash is up 131%, making the news. And then Zcash also doing pretty well. And then over the last 7 days, who's been doing the worst? Bitsensor, which is actually an AI related cryptocurrency, is actually down 19% this week. Solana is also doing pretty bad as well this past week, but now Solana is trading at $161. Okay. Aerodrome Finance is down 12.6% this week, and Athena is down 12.24%. So there are some cryptocurrencies that have done bad the past 7 days, but because they've been doing bad, these might be some cryptos worth getting into. They might be on sale this week, and then maybe they go back up to higher prices going into next week. Something to think about. All right, let's see what HookSmash is saying here. 92.93 is from Bars. Pattern matching, low confidence in that one. Wiccan to 94.3, which is 618 on the higher time frames. 96.5k, you'll be okay with that. Front run 618 and bounce off high time frames, trend lines. Well, that's good that you mentioned that sometimes these Fibonacci levels could get front run on us. That is always a possibility here. I'm glad you're aware of that. Unless we know that you're an experienced trader and you know, like, you could have your targets, but sometimes your targets can get front run on you. Let's go back into Bitcoin here. Back to the daily time frame. So yeah, let's see. Fibonacci, my Fibonacci targets on Bitcoin, I got the 0.382 at 94k and the 0.5 at 100k. We already came below the 0.5. We came into like 98k area before we caught some bids here on Bitcoin. I kind of want to get into like the smaller time frames now. Let's get into day trading mode here. Let's look at the 1 hour time frame for Bitcoin. Let's see what Bitcoin has to contend against here. Bitcoin at 102,600. We do have a 50-day moving average that could act as resistance initially for now at 102,966. If we get past that 50-day, I'm sorry, the 50 moving average on the 1 hour time frame, then we got the 100 moving average at $105,000. That could be a good take profit zone. And then you got the 200 moving average at 106K. So I think going into this weekend, Bitcoin, it could hit 105, 106K, but it might go sideways as it hits these moving average targets. These moving averages could act as resistance going forward into the weekend. Let's see what Bitcoin looks like on the 15-minute time frame. 15-minute time frame, Bitcoin is getting above the 200 moving average, so that's good to see. But we might go sideways for now as we try to flip the 200 from resistance into support. That 200 moving average on the 15-minute time frame is sitting at 102,250. I think that's literally the level that I got at. I did a Bitcoin long at 102,200 here. And I think right now I'm just targeting like 103K on my long. Let's see how I'm doing here on Mexi here. So let's see. This is my Mexi exchange here, trading account. What the hell? What are you doing here? Oh my god. I just lost my... Let's get back into it here again. Alright. Sometimes Mexi likes to do these advertisements and it just messes me up here. Alright, so here we are, my BTC long here on Mexi. I'm in a 50x long. And I got in at 101,000. Alright, I thought I got in at 102, but it was actually 101,000. I got in at 101,300 earlier this morning. And I gotta move my stop losses around here, because I'm clearly in profit. I'm up 55% on my BTC long here. And I can move the stop loss. Alright, so stop loss. Let's see. Here we go. I had a stop loss at 100,700. If I got stopped out, I would have lost 31 bucks. But now I don't need to lose money. I can actually put the stop loss at break even, maybe even a little bit in profit. So I put the stop loss at 101,400. Okay. But since I already identified that we are at a resistance level here on the 15-minute time frame, let's go into the charts here. I want to take profit. I want to take profit right now. So here we are, looking at the 1 hour chart. We're coming up on 102,955. That should be another good area to take profit. But if I look at the 15-minute time frame, we're already at a target that I should have took profit at that 15-minute 200 moving average. So I will take profit, because I just don't know. I mean, we could drop below the 15-minute time frame 200 moving average, come right back down to my stop loss at break even. So as a good day trader, you should pay yourself, and I'm gonna take off half of the position right now and pay myself right now in front of you guys. I'm gonna pay myself. Okay. Right now, I could close the entire trade and be up 60 bucks on this trade, being up 58%. I'm going to close half this trade off. So I'm going to give myself 30 bucks here. Okay. So if I go over to close here, I can close the long. We'll do a market close at 102,500. And I'm just going to close 50% of the position here. Okay. My estimated P&L is about 29 bucks. So I'm going to pay myself $29 right now. Close it. Here we go. Alright, I just paid myself. Okay. And now I'm still in the trade. I got 30 bucks in the trade right now. You know, if I was to close the rest of it, I would still make, you know, another 30 bucks for a total of like 60 bucks on that trade. Okay. But that's a prudent decision to make. Even though things are going my way, and I am still targeting 103K. I could probably now move my take profit if I want, but if we do come back down to like $101,000 all over again, I could re-enter the trade again, buy back in near my entry price at 101K, and do it all over again and make another 30 bucks later on today. So right now, I'm in a guaranteed winning trade. All right. I already paid myself 30 bucks. I still got some money here where, you know, if we make it up to 103K, I'll make another 85 bucks. However, if we drop down to 101K, you know, I'll only make $4 and get stopped out at break even. Okay. However, I already paid myself 30 bucks, so it'll actually be 30 plus 4. I'll make $34 if this thing drops back down to 101K. That's how I guarantee that I make some money today. All right, let's see what you guys are saying here in the chat. Try to catch up on the chat. Hoaxmass says, my 382 is your 618. Yeah, it just depends on where you draw the fibs, you know, top to bottom or bottom to top. I drew it from top to bottom, mainly because I like seeing what the fib extensions are going to be to the upside, especially if we're in the bull market. But I could draw it from bottom to top and probably get the same numbers. Let's go into the daily chart. I'll do exactly that. Let's see if I can get that to match here. So here's my Fibonacci that I drew from top to bottom at 126K down to 74K. If I redraw it and I just do the Fibonacci from bottom to top, from like 74K up to 126,200, then I get these for Fibonacci numbers here. So my 0.382 at 94K is your 0.618 at 94K. Yeah. So it's just, you know, it just depends on how you want to draw your fib, top to bottom, bottom to top. Now, I like drawing top to bottom because when I draw top to bottom, Hulk Smash, I get Fibonacci extensions to the upside, which tells me, you know, 1272 fib extension to the upside says Bitcoin could get to 140K, and then the 1618 says 158K. Now, drawing from, you know, bottom to top, like you did, all right, I can get Fibonacci extensions to the downside, which shows that a 1272 to the downside says, you know, Bitcoin could go down to 60K, or the 1618 says Bitcoin could go down to 42,800. So it all depends on what I'm trying to accomplish here. In a bear market, I would probably do bottom to top, okay, because then I can figure out how low price can go. During a bull market, I like going top to bottom during a bull market because I want to know, you know, what the new all-time high could be if we break the all-time high that, you know, at $126,000. So that's how I do Fibonacci's here on the Meet Damien channel. All right, Shafi wants to look at Pendle, and then let's see. All right, yep. All right, that's the next request. We'll look at Pendle here. Pendle. Let's see. All right, so we'll look at Pendle currently trading at $2.82, up 8.8% today. All right, what have you done here? Looks like the lows for the year came in March when this thing was as low as $1.97, around that area. Then we had that violent crash on October 10th. We got as low as $1.65. Okay. Right now, Pendle, you know what? You know what my first thoughts are. My bias is I gotta be bearish. I think we're in a bear market on this asset because we're below the 2-day moving average. Okay. In order for me to be bullish again, you got to get above that 2-day moving average. But right now, I think the 21 EMA could be your problem for now. 21 EMA sitting at $3.06. You got to get above that level. So if you're day trading this, you're looking for 306 to the upside, and you should take profit at that area. Okay, with the 21 EMA. And then once you get above that 21 EMA and you can use it as support rather than resistance, then yeah, there could be a lot of upside to get back up to that 2-day moving average sitting at 416. And you got a few more moving averages above you. You should definitely be taking profit. Not financial advice, but I would be taking profit at 416 to like 442. where the 50-day moving average is sitting at right now. That's your target zone to the upside here, or for Pendle. To the downside, don't go lower than the lows here this week. You know, don't go lower than 246 here. I put the stop loss right at probably 243 or 242, somewhere in that area. If you do go down, then it probably means it wants to continue going down. And how far down could you go? I mean, you got the candle wick low here. You could go down to $1.65. But yeah, let's see. $1.65, somewhere to look for to the downside. And then also, you know, back here in March, you came as low as like $1.82, $1.81. Those are your downside targets there. Downside target down. You know, I don't know if what you're trying to do is a long or a short here, but if you're trying to short it, I would wait actually. I mean, I wouldn't get into the short right now, but if you're anxious, I mean, do whatever you need to do. But I think a better short opportunity is wait until you get to the 21 EMA at 306. See if it revisits that area again, then enter the short, and then you can put a tight stop loss and maybe do a good amount of leverage to try to short this thing down to $1.65 here. That's if you were planning on shorting it. Hulk Smash says you use the trend-based fib extension tool for that, and you do 3 points, swing low to swing high, the pullback, reverse, and a downtrend. Yeah, I've done the trend-based fib extension myself. That can be helpful, especially if you're able to identify a trend here. Let's see. Let's do a trend-based fib extension on this one here. So Hulk Smash is talking about the trend-based fib extension. So in this case, you go swing low, the swing high, to the retracement down here, and you get a Fibonacci right here to look at. And it looks like yeah, it looks like you got a Fibonacci level here at 5,098 cents. We actually hit that on August for Pendle here. And then you got a 1382 at $7.07. We never made it up to that level, but that would have been the next level to look for on Pendle if this trend-based fib extension was going to play out. Alrighty. Well, we come to the end of these requests. I've been live for about an hour and a half now. I'm thinking about ending the live stream. Unless you guys have any more last minute requests here. I'll finish up with my thoughts on Bitcoin to end this live stream. My thoughts on Bitcoin is I am bearish until we get above that 200-day moving average. 110K, and I'll take my bear hat off and I'll put my bull cap on and I'll be a bull again on Bitcoin. Okay? But Bitcoin's got some proving to do. It's got to get up to that 200-day moving average, and when it does, I'm still going to be cautious because we could get up to that 200-day moving average, reject it, come right back down to 100K Bitcoin all over again. So I'm going to be paying attention to how Bitcoin handles itself if it does get up to that 200-day moving average at 110K. All right. But if Bitcoin is, you know, not going to go up, we could go sideways this weekend. Could be a boring weekend for us, but if we go sideways here on Bitcoin, right? If we just go up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down right here, this could end up being a bear flag, okay? And if this is a bear flag, right? Let me try to draw this out for you. If we do something like this and we make a bear flag, then, you know, we could end up breaking on that bear flag and coming down to 90K on Bitcoin, that blue number right there. So you do not want to see that. As a matter of fact, what I want to see right now is I want to see Bitcoin actually do a V-shaped recovery and get up to 110K like before the end of this week, before Sunday. That'd be really nice to see. I'll be back to being bullish again if Bitcoin can get up to 110K by the end of Sunday here. But if we go sideways, I'm going to be scratching my head and You know, I'm going to be wondering if this is going to end up turning into a bear flag, where we end up going back down again, going into next week. So as of now, I'd be putting my stop losses. If you're in Bitcoin right now, I put the stop loss right below the lows for the week here at 98,800. Because if we do break out to the downside, I mean, selling that at 98,800 sounds a lot better than selling at 94, 92, or even $80,000, right? I would like to sell at a higher price if I could. So 98,800 is where I put the stop loss. If you know, if I'm still trying to hold on to my Bitcoin bags, but not also lose too much money if we do go down. Okay? So that's how I would play Bitcoin for now, guys. We're just hoping for a V-shaped recovery. If not, it could be a bear flag going into this weekend. And if it is a bear flag, hold on to your butts, because if we lose 98K, it gets a lot worse for Bitcoin and crypto. Okay? So that's going to be it for today's live stream. I will see you guys Monday, same time, 12 p.m. to 2 p.m. Eastern time. Take care, guys. I wish you the best of luck in whatever assets you decide to get invested in trading into. Take care, guys.